YouTube? What a weekend here. This is going to be my post-practice / matches video for the May 21st super matches we had. But first and foremost, as always, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Doobie Snacks. Go over there on IG, give us a follow. Best cake truffles in the game, hands down. But we'll jump right into it. 40 plus people in my house, in my backyard. I had like almost 10 people here, never been on the table before, having the time of their life, beating sweat, telling me they can't wait to be back. And I was like, let's revisit this conversation in about 3 or 4 days with your pain level, and we'll see how you're feeling, right? I mean, we all been there. But man, I mean, from 16-year-olds to almost 40-year-olds and girls that had never been on a table before, made my day. Let me tell you what, it was amazing to see. We had so many levels. It was training, it was competitiveness, it was family, it was people that haven't seen each other in years, and people that haven't gripped up in ever before. People that got to test their strength, and a lot of people that got their eyes opened. Exactly what I wanted, really, from the practice standpoint. I could not ask for a better practice. For the people that brought their tables, thank you so much. You are the true heroes. You guys are what made this as special as it was. My part was easy, but without you guys, I really couldn't have done it. So I thank you guys so much. For the people that showed up and helped, I really appreciate it. To the athletes, you guys rocked it. Thank you so much to everyone that showed out and showed up. Edo, Legendary Bulkin, if you do not follow him, I don't know what you're doing, but go over to his channel, give him a follow. He's the man. He's helped me a lot with this. Little details to help me on, little things I can do better. Love training with the dude, super strong. Thank you, Edo. Thank you, Scott West. Thank you, Anthony, for being last-minute referees. You know, kind of the way we ran it for our first event was I expected certain people to be in the building, and when those people didn't show up, which is no big deal, I had to go with who was my highest ranksman or my highest upperclassman of arm wrestler at that time there in the building, which was Scott. Anthony had driven down from California. He's my best friend in this, and I would never tell him no. He had volunteered to help, so I was like, fuck it, let's do it, let's run it. Everyone did an amazing job. Everyone did the best that they could. I did the best that I could. So what I want to get into first is how the matches went. This was something I envisioned in my brain going a certain way, which I'm sure happens every time for everybody. That's fine. Did not go that way. That's okay. A lot of the matches were one-sided. Wasn't expecting that as much. We also had some people not show up, which kind of lessened the event, I guess you could say. Which is fine. I had a feeling that wherever it was going to be a fallout, whether it was last minute or someone let me know, that there was going to be some type of fallout. Or that's why I had six matches. You know, just in case something like that happened, I had plenty of matches to go with. Could always be better. That's fine. I've told everybody I have a million different ideas in my head about how to make this stronger for the athletes, for the referees, for the viewers, for everybody. So, very first time doing this as big as I did. I look forward to doing them every single 2 weeks. One of them would be the reffing, a little bit more concrete as far as people that I know that are going to be there. We'll all be on the same page. I tried to do a rules meeting prior to the matches, and because I was a little bit rushed and a little frantic, I guess you could say, I was skipping, I guess, some details that ended up happening in the matches that would have been nice to go over so that we were all on the same page before they ended up happening, and everyone was just kind of like this. So what I've done is I've talked to and reached out a few people. If I've reached out to you, you know who you are. I've reached out to a few people to kind of create this small, don't laugh, okay, but refs committee within this artillery matches system that we're going to do, so that whoever's in the building, if I've got 5 or 6 people in this group and there's 2 of them that are in the building, then we know who's reffing. We're all under the same rule set, we're all under the same guidelines, we all know what to expect, and this is what we'll do for these going forward. I think it will bring some validity, rather, to the process of how this is all going to go. When you're just kind of thrown into the mix and you do the best you can, there's really no right for anybody to judge you and what it is. No one here is a Tim Talmadge or an official ref. No one is a Luke Pulsher. Once again, thank you to Scott. Thank you to Anthony. The very first match was Dan versus Juan. In my opinion, was the best match of the day. It was back and forth, elbow fouls, whether that was because of Ron's elbow pads. Shout out to Ron. Thank you for letting us use your table, brother. Huge help. But his table probably was not the best to start on. It has these indentations inside the elbow pads that make it almost impossible to get out of without lifting your elbow. So it made for a lot of elbow fouls. It's okay, but it made for an exciting match, I'll tell you that. It was back and forth, win, elbow foul, war in the straps. And then the very last match, Dan was instructed or coached to shove his opponent's elbow off the back of the pad, which I'm going to go over right now with you guys so that we're all clear. If you are stalemated in the middle of the table and you notice that your opponent's elbow is towards the back of their pad and you shove your arm into their chest or directly into the back of their hand, and it results in them going directly backwards, that is a foul on you, player. It is. That is not an arm wrestling move. That is an intentional foul which results on you. Okay? That is not the elbow slip of your opponent that should be called. Unfortunately, that is what was called against Dan versus Juan, with Dan getting the win. That's okay. We talked about it. We learned. Unexperienced. We're going forward. Okay? We have an agreement between the guys to run it back. They're going to have a rematch. We just need to find out a better date. Okay? Now, if you were stalemated like that and you hit towards the pad in an arm wrestling move, like I'm trying to pin my opponent, and the same result happens where your opponent's elbow comes off the back of the pad, but you made an arm wrestling move towards the side, not towards your opponent, that is to the referee's discretion to decide whether or not they think that was an arm wrestling move. Whether or not say that that was what Scott was seeing or Anthony was seeing, that's on them. I personally don't feel like, even though it was my event, it's fair for me to step in and stop anything. I'm not the referee. And I don't want to be biased. I don't want anyone to feel that way. So that's also a big part of the refs committee that I'm going to try to put together is, if I'm a part of that refs committee, which I do plan to be, if I have a word to say, then you guys know that I'm part of this and I'm not trying to be biased to anybody. Okay? So it's just all for fairness. But regardless, shout out to Juan, shout out to Dan. You guys put on a hell of a fight and definitely the match of the night. When it came down to Jake and Ben, I think it happened exactly how I think it was going to. Round 2 sucked. You could tell, obviously, Jake missed the go and Ben was just a beast, an animal. I don't know if Jake, I don't think Jake would have had anything for him even if he did hear the go. He got a pretty fair setup, I would say, or what I saw in the straps, and Ben made light work of him, where we all thought Ben would have, or I'm sorry, Jake would have the advantage in the straps. It did not seem that way. So shout out to both those guys. You put on a hell of a match. I appreciate you, Jake, Ben. You guys rock. I have next moves for both of you guys. So please reach out to me and let's get you guys a match again. I don't want to bore you guys with all this, but here's my list of excuses as to why this did not go my way. Number 1, Martin, stronger than me. Will not deny it. Number 2, stronger than me in the straps, which is where I lost both times. So realistically, could things have gone different? They could have, but whether or not they would have changed the outcome, I really don't know. Okay? When I say I was not in it, I was not in it. I was not ready to compete. I was not in the mindset that I needed in order to compete. I had way too much going on. Okay, so Thursday we found this big abscess on my dog's leg. Friday we decide to take care of it at fucking 11 p.m. of all times. Friday night, I'm in the hospital from 11 to like 1-ish, and they send me home basically telling me it's going to be 8 to 12 hours before your dog can be seen. There's nothing I can do for him. So I take him home at like Saturday at 2 a.m., something like that, and his abscess was so large the skin had stretched and it's ruptured, it popped. So I'm looking at it and I go to just kind of feel it and squeeze it, and I mean a fountain of blood and pus is pouring out of my dog's leg now. Saturday, 4 a.m., I'm exhausted. I haven't slept. This was the night before I was supposed to be well slept. I mean, we had known about the abscess since Thursday, but my dog is edema. We thought that this was something else. It turned out not to be. So, kind of my fault for pushing it all back. By the time it was Saturday morning, I'm freaking out. All I can think about is my dog. We couldn't get him into the vet the day prior. So with his drained ass infected leg, Saturday was supposed to be the morning, and prior up to that I was supposed to set everything up, get everything done with me and my lady, and of course priorities, man. So she's got to take the dog to the vet. She spends literally 7 hours in the veterinarian hospital Saturday morning from 9 a.m. till whatever. And I had to do everything alone, man. I had to set everything up, I had to cook everything, I had to film everything, and you know, I was expected to do most of it myself, but usually I have her to help me. Be a host, clean, prep things, a second opinion, anything. It made me feel a lot more comfortable, and she was not there. Not only was she not there to help me, which I'm not putting any blame on her, I told her we needed her to go. I can't stop thinking about my dog, man. I mean, it's my baby. He's 8 years old, obviously getting older for an age of a Great Dane. He's got this huge abscess on his leg that we're praying is not cancer. It made me throw up to go through what we had went through that morning. So I really got no sleep from Friday going into Saturday, very little sleep Thursday going into Friday. And then once 4 o'clock hit, or once really 3 o'clock hit, I was just completely blurred. Everybody was hitting me, texting me for directions, asking if they could bring their friends, should they bring their table, should they bring food, should they bring this, where do I turn, where do I park? So my phone is like blowing up while I'm still frantically trying to set everything up. Then I told the athletes that they could show up a little bit early, and Ed and the people who were live streaming, so that we could go over some things before things popped off at 5 o'clock. I was very adamant about getting things started at 5 o'clock. I very much wanted that. I think I nailed it. I think I got it pretty much right at like 5:02, 5:03 we started. So that was nice. Realistically, my mind was everywhere other than being an arm wrestler that day. I've sat there and thought a lot about it. Not a time for me to take someone like Martin lightly. And I will say that I did. I really expected to have, not an easy, but I did not think I was going to struggle much with taking his hand. Thought I'd take his hand and then I'd have a struggle with his arm. And I did not do what I needed to do mentally to get myself to be in competitive mode when it was time to go. Martin's too strong for that. I definitely think I'm the better arm wrestler. I definitely think I have more experience. I didn't show that, and that's fine. Sometimes that guy shows up. Sometimes your performer shows up and sometimes he doesn't. And if I had to critique myself on one thing I was worst at, that probably would be it. I've never been a good test taker. I'm not the greatest performer. I try to do my best to show up, and like for example with Arizona State, I've got headphones in, I've got no girlfriend around, I have no setting up to do. I focus on one thing, and that is bust ass. I think it would have been a little bit different had that been the vision for me. But that's okay, none excuse. Like I said before, Martin is a strong fucking dude, stronger than me in the straps, that's for sure. I just didn't get my setup where I needed. If you watch the raw footage, there was some bullshit going on with the setup and the whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that with Ed tomorrow on his live at 12 p.m. But nonetheless, shout out to Martin. Then we get to Nathan and Tito. No one saw it, but on round 1, Tito's elbow did come up again in order to get the advantage to come down. But it was very obvious this time that Tito was the stronger human than Nathan. I think that Tito just wasn't prepared in Arizona State as much as he needed to be. And me and Tito kind of talked a little bit about it. Tito's on to bigger and better things. Tito is moving up. That is a strong human right there. So top 10 guys, look out, because Tito's somewhere in that top 15 to top 10, I believe, and he is coming for that ass. Really happy to see that match come to fruition. Julius's opponent, Jesse, fell out, so we were not able to see his match. He ended up doing some practice matches with Sid left-handed. That was fun. I don't really get into the left-handed thing, and it also wasn't very serious, so I didn't post that. But two behemoths going at it. Rad Rob versus Kirby, which I was the most excited to see. Kirby's ass showed up late. Rad Rob had to work in the morning, so he had to, or that night I think he had a graveyard shift. So he was really only going to be there for his match because it had started a little bit later. Shout out to Rad Rob, thank you for coming. He had a little bit of a left-handed practice match with Ed. I think that, you know, it all in all was a success. When you look at the practice, I mean, it's hard to get upset about anything when you see how many people showed out and who showed out and how much fun everyone had. I'll be honest, probably not going to make food again. From what I saw, I either made way too much food, or out of 40 people, like 7 of you ate, which is fine. A lot of you said you came from somewhere that you're eating, or you had dinner plans afterwards, something like that. Whatever the case may be, arm wrestling is not really about that. I just thought of it to be a little bit more of a family experience, but I did kind of stress myself out a little bit too much on that kind of stuff. So going forward, probably going to do like appetizers and stuff. Don't know how much I'll do food going forward. We'll see. We'll see what I can do. Shout out to Aaron. Volunteered his house for some of these matches every so often, so that if I did want to compete, I didn't have to be host every time. So I probably will take him up on that. It looks like we're going to have a card July 2nd, which is a Saturday, and that card will end up being at Aaron's in Phoenix. But we have 2 more cards coming. We have the June 4th card, and we have the June 18th card, I believe it is. And then after that would be the July 2nd at Aaron's. But both June 4th and June 18th will both be here. Same thing, same setup. And if you want a match, please reach out to me. Now, with the June 4th matches, I already do have 3 matches set. One of them fell out. I still need to fill technically 2 more spots. So if anybody wants a match for June 4th, please reach out to me. If I haven't already, let's get you a match. The next one after that will be June 18th, which I already have some potentials that I'm working on, but I'd love to hear it. If you want anybody that wants a match, like I said, please reach out to me and I will get you one. June 4th goes, I know that there is a Rage in the Cage event, an MMA event that's happening here in Arizona. There's also a sideshow arm wrestling event that's happening within that event. It's thrown by Scott Wynn. Shout out to Scott Wynn, homie out of California, a legend in the sport. From a lot of our perspectives, the ones that are here, we're not sure how big of a outside state turnout this is going to be. I'm not sure how many people from Cali, Washington, and Vegas and all these other places really know or interested in this event. I haven't heard too much about it. So with that being said, it's hard to want to pay $40, $40+ whatever it is, to grip up with the guys that I arm wrestle in my backyard. You know, is it good for competition and ready goes? Absolutely, but that's what I'm doing, and that's no knock on Scott Wynn or any other promoter, Tim Talmadge or anybody. Please do what you do, throw your event, and I'm sure your event's going to be bigger than mine. I'm still going to do what I do. I'm still going to host this for athletes, these local amateur athletes, to have a safe space, come out, test themselves, feel good. After Saturday, I really feel like I set a precedent for what this could be. And know that that's on you guys. I can only make this so big by inviting you guys. The rest is on you. For you to invite your friends, the people that have never been on a table. For you to post this on your Facebook and share this. For you to come and arm wrestle. Take the day off. Do whatever is necessary. If it's important to you, then you would. Know that. Because for a lot of us, this is not just a sport. It's a lifestyle, man. We live this. Shout out to everyone that made it out on Saturday. I had a great time. All in all, I cannot wait for this next coming event. I had such a blast. Like I said, I will be going live tomorrow, Tuesday. What's the date? May 24th with my buddy Ed on his channel, Legendary Balkan. Go over there and subscribe. We're going to be talking about a little bit more into detail about what we thought about the matches. Also, the matches that will be happening on June 4th. All the goodies and details and the little gossips that have been happening since the 21st and what we see and what we've seen. I can't wait for it. Please subscribe, like, share this video, and we'll see y'all on June 4th.